Welcome to the Sul-king Fantasy Football Podcast, presented by Vox DFS Firelines. Now, here are your hosts, Justin.
Stephon Gilmore go to the Patriots. Now they let Mike Gillislee go to the Patriots. Are they now just the farm club within their own division?
Greg.
He's one of these faux leading women. It's like, that's not Angelina Jolie or Jennifer Aniston. It's some girl that I would see at the Circle K. That's kind of Alshon Jeffrey.
And Ryan.
There is absolutely no reason why O.J. Howard should be drafted before Cameron Brate. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sul-king Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Ryan Skullrood, and if you are like me, you are suffering from fantasy football. What a day it was today, Sunday. A lot of games that just didn't seem to go the way you think they would, especially with certain players. And so, yeah, I was. We'll get into a little bit of the news and notes about the day. We'll cover some Kings and Stings, the new section that Justin brought up last week. We'll go over kind of who we've got there, and then we'll cover the Monday Night Football episodes or the Monday Night Football game for tomorrow night, and kind of see who is possibly there to be able to to be able to help you out to win your match if you're close and you think you might still be in it. So I am doing a solo show tonight. A bunch of the guys have other things they needed to take care of on Sunday nights, and just ended up losing power. So you just got me tonight. So I'll do what I can to keep this going and try to be as entertaining as possible. To start off, I want to thank our title sponsor, Vox DFS Firelines. They are a premium consulting service for your DFS lines. They also do lineup provision. I am actually one of the line writers to help out at Vox. They do DFS lines for football, baseball, basketball, you name the sport, they do it. So make sure you go over to voksdfs.com to find out more and let them know that the guys from Sul-king Football sent you. All right, well, let's get into the news. And we'll just start from the top. Here we go. All right, so Jay Gruden said that Rob Kelly has a possible fractured rib. It caused him to leave the game in the first half. And because of that, Chris Thompson had quite the game today. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. In the same game, Jordan Reed had a chest injury, it looks like. And then I guess their safety also had a little trouble. But looks like Washington's dealing with some injuries, and I think we talked about having a new glass man in Kevin White. I think Corey Coleman's working on that too. The Cleveland Plain Dealer reports that Browns fear Corey Coleman suffered a broken hand in Week 2's loss to Baltimore. God, that guy can't stay healthy either. And so I'll make sure that we'll definitely have to look at who's the next guy up there in Cleveland. Greg Olsen is being diagnosed with a broken foot and is out indefinitely, which is wonderful when you own him in 2 leagues, especially in the Scott Fish Bowl where tight ends are a premium. Sucks for me. Giants believe there's a good chance that Odell Beckham Jr. will be able to play Monday night, but as cautioned, it's still up in the air. We'll see how that goes for the Monday night game. Randall Cobb left the Falcons game with a shoulder injury. Jordy Nelson left that same game with a quad injury. Chris Carson saw 20 carries, and it looks like he is now the number 1 running back for the Seattle Seahawks, which I am excited about. He was the only one in preseason who actually showed any worth whatsoever in terms of being able to do something behind that offensive line. Let's see what else. Jordan Howard rushed 9 times for 7 yards in the Bears' Week 2 loss and was spotted afterward with his arm in a sling. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes tomorrow. Rob Gronkowski on the sideline. Had looked at he was had a groin injury. Missed the rest of the game. We'll see how long. See if he misses more time down the road. Corey Davis looks like he has re-injured his hamstring. We'll see how much time he misses. And let's see. I think that's about it in terms of fantasy relevant injuries. So, yep. So I think we'll just go ahead and move on. We're going into our Kings and Stings section. And so this is kind of our who were the all-stars, who are the guys that way outperformed their projections, and those are our Kings and our Stings, who are the guys that just absolutely pooped the bed. So we'll start with the quarterbacks. In terms of our QB Kings for the week, Carson Wentz throwing for 333 yards and 2 TDs, projected for only 15 points and throws for 20 and ends up getting 24. Tom Brady absolutely lit up, and I mean lit up the Saints defense today. 447 yards, 3 TDs. All 3 of those TDs actually came in the first quarter, which I'm very happy to have Tom Brady in a quarterback premium league where you get like half a point per completion. Yeah, it was a huge day for him in that league today. Trevor Siemian, interesting stat I saw today. He is the 13th in the league in terms of pass yards, and is leading the league in touchdowns because he threw four of them tonight against the, I guess you could say, lowly Cowboys. And so those are our 3 QB Kings. They had quite the games for themselves today. Our QB Stings, this one really kills me. Kirk Cousins, 179 yards and 1 TD. And it wasn't to the guy that I've got stacked with him in Terrell Pryor, who's also been struggling. We'll get to him in a minute. But Kirk Cousins he's not been throwing a whole lot. He's been getting sacked like crazy. The run game really hasn't been getting going, but it helped that today they were playing against the Rams, who, the Rams had a great week in week 1, but they were playing the lowly Colts, who don't have Andrew Luck, and whose defense is just god-awful. And Kirk Cousins put up a whopping 179 yards and a TD against them today. So, and another one of our Stings was Cam Newton, throwing for only 228 yards, no TDs. He apparently missed Christian McCaffrey on a really easy play that should have been for a touchdown, should have been for McCaffrey's first touchdown of the year. And it's one of those, what was it? I saw described as one of those plays that you make it, it's an easy throw and catch. They make 99 times out of 100, and that was the one that they missed. So those are our Kings and Stings, the quarterbacks. In terms of the running backs, C.J. Anderson just ran all over the Dallas Cowboys. 118 rush yards, 3 catches for 36 yards, finished with 2 total TDs. Had quite the game for himself. We're going to be saying this a lot this season. Kareem Hunt is one of our running back kings. 81 rush yards, 3 catches. Now, mind you, a lot of that, I think 53 of those rush yards were on one play, but that went for a touchdown. He had 3 catches for 28 yards, finished with 2 total TDs. The kid is a monster. He's already got 2 weeks. He's got 5 touchdowns on the season. He is really turning into a top back in this league, which we saw coming. I know a lot of people saw it coming, but this is definitely a star in the making. Chris Thompson, we talked about him a little bit earlier. 77 yards on 3 carries, I believe it was. He also had 3 catches for 29 yards and 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was like a 50-yard run, and so he had quite the game, filling in once with Perrine not doing much, and once Kelly went out with his rib injury. So, and then Todd Gurley managed to actually have a decent game. 88 yards, 3 catches, 48 yards, and 2 TDs total as well. So, those 4 running backs had themselves quite the games. And now we look at the Stings, and this is just killing me. Ezekiel Elliott, 8 yards, 4 catches, or 8 rushing yards, and 4 catches for 14 yards. The Broncos really seemed to bottle him up. DeMarco Murray had only 25 rush yards, 1 catch for 3 yards. From what I heard, he actually went out with a hamstring injury, and so they just kind of kept him off. And they were doing well enough. They didn't need to bring him back in to risk any more trouble. We mentioned this in the news. Jordan Howard, 7 rush yards on 9 attempts. That is so brutal. In the Scott Fish Bowl, we talked about who was it? Greg Olson going out with an injury with the broken foot. I have Greg Olson, I have DeMarco Murray, and Jordan Howard. All 3 of them going out with injury in this game in this week. I think it was one of the lowest scoring pros in this tournament. So this week that was great. And then LeGarrette Blount, no yards, 1 catch with no receiving yards. So I don't think LeGarrette Blount is going to be the answer there. Justin. I know that Justin mentions quite often that he's just not a fan of LeGarrette Blount. We just, he's never performed outside of New England. So why would we expect that he's going to perform outside of New England? You shouldn't. So look to maybe see if they go with Wendell Smallwood. They may stick with just using Darren Sproles. So those are definitely 2 names to look at this week. Our wide receiver kings, Michael Crabtree, 6 catches, 80 yards, 3 touchdowns. Absolutely tearing up the Jets defense. He is the guy to own in Oakland in terms of the wide receivers. It is not Amari Cooper. It is Michael Crabtree. He is the guy. Emmanuel Sanders, 6 catches, 62 yards. I want to say he also had a TD in the game tonight. And then Jermaine Kearse. Honestly, I'm extremely happy for Jermaine Kearse. 4 catches, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. Getting traded from Seattle to go to the New York Jets. He's got 3 TDs already in the first 2 games, which I think is the amount that he had all last year. And it's nice to see that he's getting, kind of getting that lead wide receiver role after spending so many years as like the back and forth between the 2 and 3 in Seattle. Our stings in the wide receiver department. Larry Fitzgerald, 3 catches for 21 yards. I was expecting a lot more going to Fitzgerald once DJ went down. It'll be interesting to see how that continues to go. And honestly, that could just be Carson Palmer just not able to get the ball out. Who knows? Brandon Cooks, 2 catches for 37 yards. A lot of people are expecting a lot out of him going back to New Orleans, and Lattimore just locked him up. It was brutal to watch Cooks try to get loose. Terrell Pryor, this one's killing me. 2 catches for 31 yards. He still doesn't have 100 yards in 2 games. So he's definitely having some issues. It doesn't help that Kirk Cousins is as well. So, but I want to say that Terrell Pryor also has 3 drops in 2 games, which is not promising. Mike Wallace, 1 catch for 7 yards. And Jordy Nelson going out with 0 catches in the game tonight against Atlanta. So, yeah, definitely some rough performances. And then we go to the tight end kings. Jason Witten, another 10 catches, 97 yards, another TD. Obviously, Dak Prescott has developed chemistry with him. Can't seem to get it with Dez Bryant, but definitely has chemistry with Jason Witten. Travis Kelce, 8 catches for 103 yards and a TD. And then out of nowhere, Ben Watson, 8 catches for 91 yards. So definitely finally found a receiver that Flacco likes to throw to this season. And then in the stings, we go to Greg Olson, 1 catch for 10 yards. Jimmy Graham, 1 catch for 1 yard. And Martellus Bennett, when Justin put this together, at the time, Bennett did not actually have a catch. Let me see real quick. pull it up real quick. Pull up his stats for today. Against the Falcons tonight, he ended up with 5 catches for 47 yards. When Justin put this together, he had not had any catches on 4 targets. So yeah, he's not necessarily in the sting. He's, he ended up getting, 9 points, almost 10 points in PPR. So those are our Kings and Stings there. And we're adding a new section. We are the Sul-king Fantasy Football Podcast. This new little section is called the Sul-king Players of the Week. And we're doing this kind of in a hockey-style 3-star system. So the number 3 star goes to Young Hoku for missing the game-winning kick for the 2nd week in a row. Well, I think today would have been a game-winning kick. Last week it was the game-tying kick. Manages to miss both of them 2 weeks in a row. So he is one of our Sul-king Players of the Week. Number 2, the Bengals offense, who has yet to score a TD in 2 weeks. The Seahawks offense was trying really hard to be part of that as well, and finally got a touchdown with 3 minutes left to go against the 49ers at home today. So, all right, so let's move on to, now that we've got our Sul-king Players of the Week and our Kings and Stings for the week, let's go ahead and move on to, let's see, pull it up, the Monday night game, and kind of take a look at who we've got going. This is going to be played in New York, and I kind of like Stafford to do all right in this game. He is going up against a pretty decent New York Giants defense, who was able to get to Dak a bit last week. I don't like any of the running backs for Detroit, to be completely honest. I drafted Amir Abdul, and I've already dropped him even after 1 game. Yeah, he's gotten 15 carries, but their offensive line just cannot get anything working for running the ball. Although they can, run the ball more than the Giants can, to be completely honest. Receiving, I like Golden Tate. Marvin Jones I'm not sure what to think of Marvin Jones. Kenny Golladay is really stepping up. He had 4 catches for 69 yards and 2 TDs last week. Golden Tate's still the number 1 wide receiver there. 10 catches last week for 107 yards. He is Matthew Stafford's main target. But because of Kenny Galladay's size, I actually have him starting in 1 league, which I've already won for that week, and still have Kenny Golladay and the kicker, I believe it's Matt Prater, still to go, and I'm already winning by 30 points. So, if you're desperate, I think that Kenny Golladay with the touchdown potential is one way to go. I believe Landon Collins is actually out. Where did I see it? Landon Collins. Janoris Jenkins has been downgraded to questionable from the Monday Night Football against the Lions, and so one of their top corners is possibly going to be missing the game. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out for. And Marvin Jones is an iffy play. He got targeted. I mean, Matthew Stafford would target him a lot in the preseason, and then once the season started, 2 receptions, 37 yards. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd wait on Marvin Jones. I'm willing to throw Kenny Golladay in a lineup. So, and then Golden Tate's a must start. As far as the Giants go, Eli Manning didn't show a whole lot, to be completely honest. Last week, you stay away from the run game. They don't have one. Unless Orleans Darkwa ends up becoming the only productive running back they've got. In terms of their receivers, it's Roger Lewis, who's mainly their kick returner. Shane Vereen, 9 catches for 51 yards. He had a decent PPR game. Evan Ingram, 4 for 44. Sterling Shepard, 7 for 44 out of the slot. Brandon Marshall, I think, had 1 catch for only a few yards. So they're still looking to develop that kind of chemistry. And as far if Odell Beckham is playing, I think you have to start him if you've got him. If you went ahead and went another way just because you didn't know if he was going to play, that's fine. But in terms of Odell, maybe if you have to start him, go ahead. But in terms of like a flex play, I definitely look at possibly picking up a Shane Vereen if you can. Sterling Shepard, I know, is still available in a few leagues. And then, I'd kind of hold off on Evan Ingram until we can know a little bit more about how Eli's going to throw it to him. So, and I think that's it. That's kind of our matchups for the Monday night game. Not a whole lot of banter back and forth, obviously, because it was just a solo show tonight, but I want to thank you guys for taking the time to listen to the Sul-king Fantasy Football Podcast. Make sure to go to iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, wherever you listen to our podcast, and give us a rating, review. We would love to know what you guys think of the show. And so thank you again for taking the time to listen in, and we'll talk to you guys later. Hey, Sul-king Nation. Thank you for listening to the Sul-king Football Podcast. Did you like this episode? If so, be sure to go to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube to subscribe. Also, please leave us a rating and reviews to let us know how we can better help you rule your leagues.